Hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. It is time, finally, for the 21st round of Season 3. Joining me for the action, it is the Tier 1 action, of course, around Brazil. Mikau, how you doing?
G'day everybody in the stream. Welcome once again to another MRL broadcast. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do around this very historic and very iconic circuit here in Sao Paulo this evening.
15 turns around here in Sao Paulo, of course, Interlagos. It is an iconic circuit, 4.3 kilometers, and home to many dramatic races over history, and perhaps we'll see one of our own here for Tier 1 racing. Let's take a look at the calendar. We have one race left after this round here in Brazil. That is, of course, next week, December 17th, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Last week we were in Mexico. Before that, it was the US, Japan, Russia. We've had a very long, intense season here for Misfits Racing League Tier 1 action. And, of course, let's take a look at who's been with us for the journey. Over at Mercedes, we have Brain Stew and Becky B. Ferrari, it's Alex Bitto and Brownie. Red Bull, Swifty and Microlander with McLaren, Yoda and Rackety. I have it on good authority that Yoda will not be partaking in today's race. So there is someone in the reserve capacity over at McLaren. We'll find out who that is in just a few moments' time. Rackety over there still, however. Remco Van Putten over in the Renault with BTFU. Shenjay and Freeware over at AlphaTauri. Fubar and Sindako for Racing Point. Nigel and John over at Alfa Romeo with Astrode and Valu at Haas. Valu really charging through late in this season. We'll see what he's able to do today around Brazil, Mikau. King and Ace over at Williams rounding out the full-time roster. Standings wise, let's take a look. Shenjay has now secured that Tier 1 championship. So that is a locked-in Drivers' Championship for the AlphaTauri squad and a Constructors' title, if I'm not mistaken. Yoda, 202 points. He is in very good standing to claim that second position for the Drivers' title, even though he's not in this race. We'll have to see what Alex Bitto is able to do about it. He's third, 164 points for the Spaniard. Freeware, 10 points off of him, and Brownie's there right behind him. So that's your top five. Sindako took 2 penalty points in 5 seconds for crossing the pit line entry. And yeah, it is AlphaTauri, Ferrari, and Mercedes for this championship, Mikau. And with all that being said, perfect timing. We're into Brazil.
Yep, full 20 drivers here for this evening's event, so I'm really looking forward to it. As you have said, Striffy, and both championships for Tier 1 have been sealed for Shenjay and AlphaTauri respectively, but there's still lots of points on offer. There's still 52 points left for any single driver this season. So there's still something to race for. I do believe that Alex Bitto can still mathematically take second place away from Yoda, but he has to really pull out all the stops in these last 2 rounds. And it's also very close between the constructors of Ferrari and Mercedes for that second place finish. I believe it's only 5 points between the 2 teams at the moment. So we have to keep a close eye on those 2 teams towards the sharper end of the grid.
Well, looking at this grid now, things a little bit gloomy here in the qualifying session. 18 minutes of qualifying is what the drivers will have to get their best time through. Valu, Becky B, Richie, we have Remco Van Putten, BTFU on the grid, Sindako as well. That's Swifty, Wavy, King, Rackety, as well as Zay in place of Yoda today. Microlander over at Red Bull, Freeware, Nigel, Jean, Astrode. We have Brownie, Shenjay, Bitto, and Brain Stew. And this is looking like it's going to be a very fast grid, Mick.
Well, yeah, it's very fast grid in terms of the lap times, but also a very fast grid in terms of when we're going to be seeing those times, because the weather report is that there's rain coming towards the end of this qualifying session. So these drivers will have not exactly the 18 minutes, but they will have however many minutes it takes for this rain to start falling to go out and set the fastest lap time they can. So these drivers can't afford to be faffing around and taking their sweet time to warm up and get accustomed to the circuit one final time. They need to be on it straight away, giving it 110% straight out of the gates.
Value. He's coming out on the mediums here. And this is a bold move considering what you've just said about that rain coming towards the, well, the better end of the qualifying session here. And he will be beginning a flying lap here around Brazil. Mikhail, take us through it.
Yeah, turn 1, first part of the center S, very, very iconic sequence of corners through turns 2 and 3, basically completely flat out. A little bit of a lock on that front left, but it doesn't seem to have cost him basically at all. Then you head down through the second DRS straight into sector 2, braking just as the concrete starts there through turn 4, then up the gears through turn 5, completely flat out, and then turn 6, this blind uphill right-hander. You just hold on for dear life, shifting down to 5th gear, just trying to get some extra rotation in the car. Through turn 7, completely flat, into turn 8 now, and turn 9, just keeping the car nice and stable. Very easy to lose the back end at the exit of 9, and then into the duckbill of turn 10. One of the more challenging and deceptively challenging corners on this track. Double short shift to try and keep that rear in check through turn 11, completely flat out, and then turn 12, probably the most important corner on the circuit, as this exit sets you up for the long, the long flat out section of the track. DRS wide open as we make our way halfway down the straight through turns 13 and 14 and 15. And across the line, it'll be a 1 minute 6.893. And these clouds are already looming about Stryfium. I don't know if the rain's actually going to be coming sooner than we may have anticipated.
Ferrari, he was next up to set a time, but he's flown into the pit lane here, so it's going to be the Red Bull of Swifty. A 107.355, it's Nigel who crosses ahead of him, a 7.33, but Shenjie, Mikhail, he's just jumped into provisional pole. He's just 2/10 ahead of Valu. Valu setting that time on the mediums. Shenjie, however, he did it on the soft, so Valu looking very, very quick in the Haas. King, a 106.988. He's just the third driver in the 106 range here. As I say it, Zay, a 106.492 into provisional pole. The McLaren here in a reserve capacity. Well, he's doing Yoda some justice today, it would seem.
And I believe that is the best of the times we're going to see, because it started raining already. Brainstreet coming across the line with a 1 minute 7.896. Good enough for only 12th at the moment, so Mercedes aren't in the best spot that we'd be used to seeing them in the real life races. But all these drivers really struggling on these, this wet track at the moment. Ace Ritchie now on his way to finish his second attempt of a flying lap here to board at the first one. What's the time going to be? It's good enough for P6, the 1 minute 7.161.
I think Remco might have just given him a tow. Remco crossed the line just ahead of him. Ritchie goes P6. Remco lands 13th here. They're on the same tires. I don't know if Remco had an issue, or if he had aborted and is running again, but it wouldn't seem like that, considering he is apparently not on an improved lap coming out of Sector 1.
No, the track's way too wet now.
It's rain time, yeah, and Wavy right now, he's on softs. He's going to be looking to get a lap in.
The one that really tickles me fancy, Stryfium, is Freeware. In the AlphaTauri, he is yet to set a lap time, and in these tricky conditions, I don't think he's even going to be able to beat Becky B's time.
The Ferraris are going to be quite irritated, I imagine, in this situation as well, Mikhail. And here goes Wavy. What's the time out of him? A 109.264. So you can see now the circuit has dropped off significantly considering where it was at the beginning of this session. Freeware now a 17.1 through Sector 1, Mikhail.
That is very, very slow. You can just, that's about 8/10 off what he can normally do around those first few corners. So it's really, really treacherous out there. Rear seems to be sliding a tiny bit. Freeway has to be so careful putting on the power through this middle sector. You can just see how much he's struggling to really just push the car around. I don't even know if this is going to be in the 109, well, the 109 to 110 range. This could well be around a 1 minute 12 at this rate, and that will certainly put him at the back of the current runners.
Well, he is not going to be improving on this lap, that's for sure. That is going to be, oh, it's a 110, Mick, that's for certain. 110.7. Brownie, a 111.1. And this, well, the track is dead. Brackety's not going to be thrilled about it either.
Well, if he's able to put a time on the board, he'll at least beat Alex Bitter. So we'll see what the time is going to be. I don't know if actually these guys are going to wait for the track to get a little bit, well, a bit more damp, and then maybe guide on a set of intermediate tires to try and improve. But Rackety will come across with the slowest time of the bunch with a 1 minute 12.920. And you can just see that this track is just, it's not in its best state anymore. And I talk about a one-shot qualifying, that was certainly all or nothing. And I think, what was it, one of the Ferraris, that might have been Alex Bitter, if memory serves me right, who was out there on track right behind the first time setter of Valor. But unfortunately invalidated his lap time, and now he has to start all the way from the back end of the grid. So both Ferraris with it all to do in this one, Striffium.
Interestingly enough, Neon has come in the chat. He's told us that it's going to be an intermediate start to the race, apparently. So leading into dry. So we've gone from dry to wet, carry through wet into apparently the start of the race. That's what, I think he's heard that from Richie. He's 6 on the grid. So it could be that some of these racers take this opportunity, this 10 minutes of a little bit of damp conditions, take some intermediate running, you get a little bit of feel. That could be a good idea. Just don't put it in the wall.
Well, no one's going to be really improving on their times, and if you crash, it's better to crash in qualifying than in the race. Of course, fortunate that we do not have the massive bill and time required to repair a car should it crash in qualifying. I think that's exactly what some of these drivers are doing, Striffium. It will be a wet start of this to the race. I have been told that. Whether it will be intermediates or not is a different question, but we'll wait and see in about 10 minutes' time. I'm just looking on board with Sindako at the moment, trying to get a feel for these intermediates. So no one, I don't think, will be improving on their times. Absolutely no way, except maybe Rackety and Brownie, but even then it's going to be a stretch. Yeah, Swifty retiring from the session. So I think all these guys out on track right now are just trying to get a feel on the intermediate tires and just try and sort of know what to expect. Get a bit more experience in the rain, because once you've done a few laps in the rain, you know where the grip is, you know where you can push the car, where you have to be careful with it, and how you can apply your throttle and brakes just that tad a bit differently in order to find that stability and confidence in the car. Because it's all about confidence driving in the wet, Striffium. And in a grid as tight as this one, and as tight and as competitive as we've seen it throughout the entirety of the 20 races prior to this one, these guys will need all the experience they can get.
I think one driver who's going to be thrilled about the conditions is BTFU, as you and I have known him to have quite the fun time in the wet conditions. But one thing to talk about here is this Sector 2 here around Sao Paulo. And what do you think about it given wet conditions? It really does make for a tricky bit of driving, don't you think?
It certainly does. I mean, that section is very technical in the dry, yet alone in the rain, where it can be extremely hard to put the power down out of some of those slow speed corners. You really need to make sure that you have your setup attuned for that. Have a bit, we'll have enough downforce on the car to be able to rotate through those medium high speed corners at the start of the sector, and then those slower speed ones towards the end of it at turns 9 and 10. And just trying to put the power down in these wet conditions can be a real struggle, especially if any of these drivers are running any rear pressure, any tire pressure in the rear tires. I don't think any of them would be, but you never know. They just need to make sure they know how to apply that throttle in these medium high speed corners. I'm still just riding on board with Sindaka as he's made his way through turns 6, 7, and 8 into 9 now. You can just see he's being so careful with that throttle input, and he just, just trying to get all the experience, all the practice that he can before the race. These drivers still have about 6.5 minutes remaining to get a feel for the conditions. But yeah, Sector 2, going back to what you were saying earlier, Strifium, is quite the beast, and it can definitely catch you out if you're not prepared for it.
Just verifying with all of our viewers that all of the times set on the grid are set on the softs, on the medium in Vala's case, and that is, of course, the dry compound tires. We're now into these wet conditions for the end of qualifying. It is slated to be a wet beginning to this campaign around Brazil, so of course all of the drivers taking a little bit of an opportunity to get some running in on the green tires, the intermediates, of course.
Yeah, normally in these kind of qualifying conditions, we'd see all the cars just retire from the session and just call it a day. But because this race is a wet start, this is more of a free practice session for the tail end of this qualifying, which is quite unusual to see. I've never seen anything like this in my league racing days, so this is quite spectacular, but no one will be improving on any of these times. I mean, Bitter will be able to set a time, but I think the current average pace at the moment is around the 1 minute 17 mark in these intermediate conditions. So he'll definitely be starting from the back of this grid. So yeah, he'll have a lot of overtaking to do. And if it's a wet start to this race, overtaking can be difficult around here. We've got some time, might just talk about the circuit a little bit. You have the 2 DRS zones that do provide some overtaking opportunities, but I think we'll see most of them once it clears up and have that DRS. Because the DRS slipstream is very, very powerful in Sector 3 through turns 13, 14, and 15, aka the main straight. Or I guess it's not really straight, but there's a couple kinks here and there, but it's completely flat out. That slipstream and DRS, very, very powerful. The ERS system, the ERS drains very, very quickly when you're trying to overtake around here, so you really have to be very precise with your moves. It is relatively easy to recover, but you really need to be decisive with your moves in a grid like this, and yeah, where everything is very, very close together. And then you have the technical section of Sector 2 where it's all about survival and just trying to get as close to the car in front as you can. The dirty air, the wake coming off the car in front can be very off-putting, especially on a heavy fuel. So these guys, I don't know how much fuel they've put into their cars for their practice runs, but they really should consider how the car's going to handle in these tricky conditions with these setups that they have put on. Probably pseudo dry wet setups, knowing most of these guys. So we should be in for a thrilling race, Triffy, and that's the be all and end all. It's going to be very interesting to see who's going to come out on top in the opening few laps, or who is going to give themselves a lot of work to do for the the rest of this campaign.
It is definitely going to be a thrilling race because of the wet start to dry conditions. And of course, let us know in the chat. Give us your predictions. Who's going to be finishing this race on the podium? Let us know what you think is going to happen with the safety cars. And that's something else I wanted to ask you about, Mikhail. Brazil, Tier 1. We think back to the 20 rounds previous now that you and I have now commentated for Tier 1 racing. Well, actually 19, considering you and Unicorn had that one stint together. And then we have a lot of rounds here now, though. We're on round 21. Safety car predictions. What do you think here around Brazil?
Brazil does have some safety car capabilities. That turn 1 on the first lap we've seen can be very, very hectic in the races gone by this week, and also in the endurance series that we did a while back. Shout out to those of you in the chat who saw that one. Know how that first lap went. Much disappointment for our founder Zermis in that one, but anyways, safety cars certainly possible around here, but knowing these drivers in Tier 1 and that it's a wet start and most of them will be taking it nice and easy, just finding a rhythm, safety car chances for this race would be fairly low. I don't believe that Tier 1's actually had a full safety car since, I want to say, Singapore?
It's been quite a few rounds since I think we've had a full safety car in Tier 1 racing. Drivers now retiring those cars in the pit lane. I think they want to get their own eyes on the action now.
Yeah, they've done their few practice laps in the rain. They have a bit more confidence now. The session is starting to draw to a close, with the 1 minute, well, 90 seconds, I should be saying, remaining left in this session. Yeah, all the cars just sort of making their way around the track. Alex Bido still trying to get a feel for things. Sindako is out there as well. Brownie behind his teammate in 18th place on this grid as well. We can go through the qualifying results again
Yeah.
for those of you who may be just joining us. So why don't you take us through that one, Striffium?
So for those that are just joining, of course, the beginning of qualifying was a dry running. A lot of these drivers got out quick. They got in on those softs, except for Valu. He went out on mediums. I'm not entirely sure if that was by design or if it was just a mistake on his behalf, but let's go through it. So in place of Yoda today, it's Zay here in his reserve capacity over at McLaren. He is on pole position, a 106.492 the time from him. Current gap from pole all the way down to 13th position, 1.1 seconds here, Mikau. And let's take you through. Shenjay second, Valu third, King in fourth. We have Sindako fifth, Richie in sixth, BT in seventh, John in eighth. His teammate Nigel right behind him in ninth, and that's Swifty in the Red Bull rounding out the top 10. Microlander 11th, Astrodite in 12th, Remco Van Putten 13th position with Brainstew and Becky, the two Mercedes, lockstep right there behind him. Wavy in 16th, Freeware 17th position here, Brownie, Rackety, and Bido. These few drivers in the back of the field, Freeware down, Wavy, they didn't get those soft runs in, Mick, so they are a little bit off the pace as far as the timing tower is concerned, but the standings would tell you otherwise. These drivers are going to be looking to cut through the field hard and fast.
Well, yeah, when you have third and fourth in the championship standings, respectively, down in 20th and 17th, something's amiss. I'm actually quite impressed with the two Alfa Romeo boys. They're locking out the fourth row, as well as the Red Bulls doing a solid job there. We used to see Microlander a little bit higher up, but Swifty's done well for himself there. I think this is one of the only times he's actually out-qualified his teammate. And John as well there. I can't recall any other races where he was out qualifying Nigel on merit, so he's been able to put the lap together. So I'm very impressed with those guys, and of course Zay in his MRL debut snatching a pole position. It's one way to go about it, but taking pole is one thing, and there's no points for Saturday, so we need to see what these guys are able to do come race time. The 36 laps here in Interlagos.
Now, it's been projected as an intermediate running at the beginning of the race. Do you think that's correct? I mean, we don't have a full picture of the forecast. I mean, I would love to see wets. I really would, because then it would take a little bit longer for the circuit to dry out here, even with the quick lap. But once again, we'll go through the top 10 here. Zay on pole position in the McLaren. Shenjay lining up next to him in the AlphaTauri. Valu in third. King in fourth. That's Sindaku running out your top 5. Richie in 6th, BTFU 7th, John in 8th, Nigel in 9th, 50 rounding out at the top 10 for Red Bull, his teammate just behind him in 11th. What a grid, Mikau, and what a unique qualifying session that was. Drivers having to get these soft runs in wet conditions, majority of them getting that quick run in. The circuit was at its quickest. They took clean advantage of that, 106.492.
Yeah, it certainly favors those who have maybe a bit more experienced in the open lobbies, where it is a one-shot qualifying, because this was, in fact, a one-shot qualifying. If you mess up your run like the Ferraris did, well, they're at the back of the grid, Striffium. And it is, it looks like it will be intermediates for the start of this race. Seeing a few drops here in the pit lane. So no blue-walled, blue-rimmed wet tires for this one, it seems.
We'll see softs. I almost see softs. I'm like peeking super tightly in at the Ferrari garage now. I don't know if you guys can see it on stream. Magnifying glass out here. We're looking under Bido's name there, number 72, and we're looking at those colors. Drivers all getting loaded into things, getting those setups dialed in, 15 seconds counting down, and I just want to see what tires we're starting this race on, Mikau. I am thrilled for this action.
Yeah, well, if they're starting on the slick tires and in downpour like this, it's certainly going to be quite the interesting ride. So we're loading in, and yes, it will be slick tires for the start.
Oh, yeah, you love to see it, and this is going to be a really shaken down strategy now. Value. Oh, Mick. What a move. So, well, take us through the tires, Mikal, because this is a really, really unique looking grid now, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you have Valo there in third place, who qualified on those mediums and put in a blistering time on the mediums, I do say so myself, only actually getting beaten by Chenjay and Zay in the end, which is a really solid effort. So you'll have Valo in third on the mediums, but you'll also have Remco Van Putten and Brainstew in 13th and 14th respectively, also on the medium tires, and Wavy down in 16th, also the only other driver on the mediums, and everyone else is on these softs. Basically fresh. They've done one run in qualifying, but other than that, they are relatively fresh softs. And I think the softs are actually going to have a bit more grip at the start, because on a damp track like this, you really need to keep the temperature in those tires. And the softs, they just have a bit more grip than the mediums, as the name would suggest.
They, with a bit of a slide out here on formation, Shenji just goes clean through. Really sliding on these softs.
He's just trying to get as much temperature into those rears as he can. So you're going to need all the temperature that you can get off the start, because in this light drizzle that we have here in Brazil, there's going to be a little to no grip off the start. So while everyone here at home and here in the commentary box, Driffium, like us, are probably very excited and very thrilled for this very difficult start, I can assure you that all these drivers are probably really, really scared for this turn one, because turn one Brazil is hard enough to navigate as is, but slick tires on a wet track, you add that, and it's going to be quite the wild ride.
Zay in the McLaren on pole position. Shenji lining up next to him in the AlphaTauri. It's Valu right behind with King in fourth. Sindako in fifth. Here we have the lights coming on now. 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Sao Paulo. It's the Brazilian Grand Prix, round 21, Tier 1 action. We are away. How's the start going for everybody on this grid right now? It is a great start for King. He's already on the inside of Shenji, coming down into turn 1, Mikal. He's already looking at him. Does he get this move? Into second already, coming down through the second and now third turn. Shenji clears him. The move hasn't been done in Sindako. Very tight to the rear of him. We've had a big mix-up with the timing tower, but we're still along with all of the action coming down into turn 4. Wheel-to-wheel between the Williams and the Racing Point. King holds fourth, but it's still Sindako tight to the rear of him. And what a start to this race we've had already, Mikal.
Yeah, all the drivers just keeping it nice and tight. I'm seeing it's 3 wide for the guys in the back, with Wavy, Rackety, and Brownie going through turn 6. That's never going to work there. Wavy getting the better of that exchange. Sindako, his teammate in the other Racing Points, still fighting with Esking through turns 9 and 10. But yeah, a very, very tentative start. And Zay had an absolute amazing launch compared to Chenjay. He's been able to pull out 1.3 seconds already in this opening lap, Striffium. So very, very nice stuff from McLaren.
Aphrodite, 10th position right now, has Microlander hunting him down. Swifty's had a good start. He started this race in 10th. He's into 8th. John looking at him now, but Microlander, oh, there's been an issue for John. He's gone into the wall. He's going to be overtaken by a multitude of cars, and Swifty has been overtaken by Microlander already as a result of this. Aphrodite in 9th is looking to take the Red Bull as well. Does Swifty have an answer for this? It doesn't look like he does just yet. King and Richie have exchanged. It looks like Richie now 5th position for him, making his way ahead of King. BTFU not too far behind this. Timing tower yet to bring us the full picture. But Becky B, wheel to wheel. Ooh, a lunge out of him into turn 4. He's on the inside of Nigel. Does he get this move done? The Mercedes now. Yes, 12th position for Becky. Neatly done out of him.
Yeah, there's some really, really nice battles going on in this midfield of the grid. Freeware seems to really be struggling. He's gotten off to a great start, already up into 11th place from, I believe it was 17th. But he's really struggling to make really any more progress in this field. He just needs to keep his head down and make sure that he doesn't make any mistakes, because these conditions are really testing the drivers, but out in front at the moment, Chenjay and Zay are using those soft tires to full effect. They are pulling away from this field, and Sandako looks like he's going to be putting Valo under pressure, Striffium. He's got that overtake on. Which way is he going to go, inside or outside? Looks like it's going to be the outside Valo. Actually, they're going to be switching places as soon as I say that. Heading into turn 1, trying to spot that 50-meter board. Massive lockup on the front left for Sandako, but Valo is able to hold on for now.
Freeware has just dispatched Swifty into 10th position as that battle was unfolding. Sandako now having another run out of turn 3 as we make our way down the DRS straight. He's along the inside, clear ahead into 3rd position. Can he hold this coming out of turn 4? Ooh, yes he does, and it was a neat move out of Sandako there. We'll see what Valley's able to do about it later on now that he's on this longer stint. BTFU still in the thick of it. Microlander really barking up his rear right now. He's just stuck that Red Bull in the rear of the Renault. And there is just a train all throughout this grid right now. A little bit of a cork in it. Astrode, 9th position for 1.5 on the rear of where Microlander's sitting.
Yeah, BTFU's gotten off to a very, very nice start there for that Renault. He is known for his pace in these tricky conditions. So we'll see. He's going to need to be using all of that skill, all that experience that he's accumulated over his league racing career to really defend from Microlander and try and keep this track position, because track position at this stage of the race could be the difference between the podium and, well, being out of the points. But it looks like Microlander with a very nice move into turn 1, right around the outside for turn 2. He's going to be able to hold that position. DRS has been enabled, so if you're within that 1 second gap, that rear wing is going to open between, well, on the start-finish straight and between turns 3 and 4.
King right now, still Richie right in his rearview mirror. It's the two Williams 5 and 6 hunting down the Williams of Valley, or sorry, the Haas of Valley. And Valley on these mediums, he's dropped off a position from where he began. Sandako getting up a couple slots from where he began now. He started this race in 5th. He's now in 3rd. John, not going to be thrilled. He's in 20th. He's down 12 positions. He's the biggest, well, he's leading the losses so far in this race, we'll say. And Microlander now, he's still within half a second of Richie as he's made it ahead of BTFU. And we'll really see how this plays out as DRS, as he said, has now been enabled for all of these racers. It's going to be about risk and reward here coming through turn 1, I think, at this point in time. King with a run. Ooh, does he get the dive? Does he get the lunge? Valu holding a little bit later on the brakes, I think. King not able to do anything just yet, but he will have DRS on Valu heading into turn 4. This is going to be a tight exchange, I think. Look at the run. Look at the speed. Valu with a slight defense to the inside. King very early on the brakes there. I don't think he knew what Valu was going to do. Maybe he expected a possible switchback, but this has exposed him. Richie in 5th once again. I think Richie's going to have a better crack here. King in the rear gunner seat.
They can't really do anything because these guys behind them are so close to their rear, and Freeway with a massive lunge into turn 8 on BTFU. He's continuing to make progress.
Oh!
The tap. Freeway into the grass, and that is a front wing end plate gone for the AlphaTauri. Just the tiniest snap from BTFU sent him straight into the rear of Freeway. And all that great progress completely undone in one fell swoop.
BTFU knew as well. He knew. He dropped the throttle there. I think he wanted to see if Freeware could recover, maybe let him go through. Now as an inside move, there goes Richie. He's on the inside of Valu. There he goes into 4th. Valu right now, nothing to do against this just yet, but he will have DR. Ooh, here goes the Red Bull Microlander around the outside of King. That's giving him the inside through 2. What a move. He's into 6th. I don't think King knew he was there. I don't think he knew he was there.
There's a Ferrari off. There's a Ferrari off at turn 2, between turns 2 and 3. That's going to be Brownie. Yeah, he had a slight tap with Alex Bitto there in this fight that's been going on behind them. That's going very, very intensely as we were looking at the fight for P5, P6.
Oh, Wavy's going around now as well. Yeah, he's missing a big portion of that front left, Mick. Massive, massive portion. Here goes Alex Bitto on the inside of Nigel now. 14th position for that Ferrari. What a unique race this has been. These conditions really representing a challenge for these racers. Damp conditions, a little bit of water on track, soft, dry compound tires. Mick, wow, what a drive.
It's certainly putting all these drivers to the test. The field is starting to spread out a little bit as everyone's still trying to get accustomed with these conditions, because when the conditions are changing like this, it's really hard to tell where the grip is and where the grip isn't. So these guys are all still trying to find the limit, and unfortunately, we've seen that sometimes if you go a bit too far, it can cost you dearly. As in the case for 17th downwards on this grid.
Keeping an eye here, Valley right now. He's just got an angry Red Bull charging in his rear view. And I think we're going to see a move out of Microlander heading into turn 1 here as Becky B and BTFU are having a wheel-to-wheel exchange. It's Becky B on the inside of BT right now. Swifty has the front row seat.
We have a safety car.
And what has caused this? It looks like the Remco Van Putten, Mick. Oh, dear.
Yeah, he's sitting on the straight between turns 5 and 6. So maybe he just lost the rear coming out of that sequence of corners. See if Freeway can still see his car. He's just sitting there in that concrete runoff. But yeah, this is the first full safety car for these guys since Singapore, I believe I said in qualifying. And lots of guys taking this opportunity to jump into the pit stops, put on a fresh set of either mediums or hards. I don't see really anyone going onto the hards, but Rainstu gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. I know how that one feels.
Ooh, Brownie took one for speeding, and oh no. Brownie has taken a drive-through penalty, Mikkel, and that is not going to be what the Ferrari camp wanted to hear at all.
No, this race has gone from bad to worse with that one, but you need to keep it very, very slow in these tricky conditions. How the Delta works is that you need to be, under 40% pace on what the game considers to be regular running. And in damp conditions like these, it's a lot slower than some of these drivers might expect. So they really need to be careful when making their way around. It looks like Zay and the other leaders have caught the safety car queue, so that Delta should be going away, if it hasn't already. But yeah, all those drivers who have pitted, most of them have gone for this the white-walled hard compound of tires, hoping to make them last the end of this race. But Sindako, Aphrodite, and Rackety are on mediums for Sindako and softs for Aphrodite and Rackety. And I gotta say, Striffy, man, in conditions like these, I don't entirely disagree with their decision. Normally I'd say, oh yeah, it's a no-brainer to have hards to the end, but in conditions like these, and I've been saying it this entire first stint, it's been really hard to keep the temperature in the tires. You could see how much Valo was struggling at the early stages of this race on those mediums. He was falling off so much from those lead two drivers. These hards are going to be even more harder to get any temperature in. Pun was take that as you will. So these guys are going to have a lot of work to do, but as the rain just stopped, as I've been going on about that, it looks like it has at turns 4 and 5 at the start of Sector 2, so
I definitely
maybe
agree
the
with
track
you. It looks like it's subsided now.
Yeah, the track still will be a bit cool and a bit damp in places. Top Brownie.
Oh, he is not going to be happy. No, he is not going to be happy in that Ferrari. I feel for the man. I do. Theoretically speaking, I guess I technically am a teammate of his, given my I drive Ferrari at Apache, but Apache Exhibition and bad luck, Brownie.
He will still need to serve that drive-through, so even though he's already in 19th, he'll be a pit stop worth of time behind once we get going once again. But yeah, the rain has subsided, so that the hards will be able to have a bit more temperature in them. But still, Sindako and Astrodite are going to be able to have a lot more grip than those around them at the start, at the restart. So it's all going to be on what they are able to do.
Went around one more time here, letting everybody catch up. Brownie gonna have to serve that drive-through, which, if anybody can, I think, persevere out of this, it's Brownie, and it's a long race. It's a packed race, and if this circuit's drying up, I think we're gonna see a little bit more risk-taking, without doubt. With more risk-taking comes more conflict. If you have more conflict contact, well, safety car's gonna see some more action.
It's been on a bit of a hiatus in the past couple of months, but it is back and it is here. But Maylander having a nice vacation. It's like, no, I'm gonna come back for this race.
Yeah, no doubt. Time's up. It's Brazil. We need the drama. We need the safety car. You know, it's not Brazil without a little bit of spice added to the mixture, added to the recipe, if you will. A little bit of bam, a bit of flavor. BTFU, 5th position right now, 9-lap-old softs. Take a look at the position changes right now. Microlander up 7, BTFU up 2, Swifty up 4. Alex Bidow's up 13 positions. He'll be happy about that. Richie, he's down a couple. Sindako down 4 here. Astrodite up a couple. And King down 7. And this safety car, of course, now has entered the pit lane. See what Zay is able to do here on this restart. We'll see if there's going to be any advantage takers. It looks like there's been a collision already. Valu hunting Shenjay immediately on this restart. Zay's away across the line, and we're back to green flag racing here in Brazil. Microlander already very tight with Valu around the outside of turn 1. There's a little bit of contact, and Valu has spun. He's corrected the car, but he's going to lose a multitude of positions. Yellow flags, and here comes Sindako. His teammate Astrodite sees what's going on. Is there going to be a move out of Astrodite? No. Sindako, however, putting himself in I was going to say Santa's rear view, but that's Richie, of course, in P6. And what a restart. That was explosive. Here goes Astrodite on the inside of his teammate, Mikau. He's on the softs.
Oh, he snaps to read. He's letting the brakes. There's contact between the two horses. Bit of wheel banging. Don't think there's any damage from those, but wow.
What a move.
These guys are not holding back.
No.
I was also watching a bit further down, and Wavy had an amazing triple overtake into the center S. I don't know how he managed to avoid damage for all of those cars involved, but he's now up into 13th place after a suboptimal restart on that main straight. But this first lap of dry running for these drivers certainly has no lack of action, and looks like Sindako's going to be eyeing up another move on Ace Richie.
Yeah, he's really got him in his crosshairs. The lunge down the inside. It looked like Richie wanted to try and close him off, but Sindako has other plans around the outside of turn 2 now through. What a move out of Sindako there, and that was really touch and go. Astrodite wanting to follow suit now. He's looking at both of these racers heading into turn 4. Richie closing him off a bit. Doesn't want that door even remotely ajar for Astrodite to slip through.
He had a little bit of a look at Sindako there into turn 6.
Oh, he's just had a look.
Quite the dive.
Well, Astrodite's just had a look at Richie. He's had a little bit of a brush. Now he's under threat from his teammate Valu around the inside. Now it's going to be a switchback opportunity. Astrodite holding 8th right now, and he doesn't want to have too many shakes like that coming out of the Haas, because that could be race done and dusted with a restart like this. Look at these times up and down the grid, Mikau. You can't look away.
No, you really can't.
Wavy.
Meanwhile, Brownie is still suffering there in silence, getting another 5-second time penalty, but the fastest laps are coming in. DRS has now been re-enabled on lap 13 of 36.
Valu.
So we're just past the 1/3 mark.
Ooh, Rackety, he's hunting Mick. He's looking very tight at Valley right now. Valley's stuck behind Astrodite. And I was also looking at Freeware, who's sticking right to the rear. He's coming around the outside of turn 3, Mikal. DRS now engaged for him. Doesn't matter if Wavy has it or not. Freeware wants 13th position, and he is on a charge in that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, he's certainly trying to use those mediums to good effect. I believe Wavy has some front wing damage that would have aided Freeware's attempt. He's missing that right end plate, is that racing point down in 14th. But all these guys are locked horns right now, especially in this fight between the two Haas's at the moment. Just very, very aggressive, just trying to make as much position up early as they can. Not something we're really used to seeing out of the Tier 1 drivers, but it's certainly a nice change of pace that they are going for all these moves. And I'm curious to see how Alex Bitto and that are able to, and the Freeway are able to continue to make their way through this grid as they set yet another fastest lap as the circuit continues to improve.
Daco, Mikau, nice clear-cut pass through on Swifty. Up the inside into turn 1. He's into 5th now, Swifty. He's in 6th. He's on those starting softs now, and it would appear Sindako on a very good strategy on these mediums is going to be looking to take this lead. All of these drivers ahead of him yet to stop. 50 right behind him among those in that group, and this is really going to give us some overtaking soon, and you can just see this train all the way down the grid. A different entire strategy. This is going to be a thrilling race to the end, and we're not even halfway through it yet.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot more action to come in this one. These guys in the midfield are all so tight together. Sindako just inside DRS range of BTFU. So it looks like BTFU is going to slowly but surely get caught by this racing point. The Italian going absolutely nuts, all the way up into 5th place already on those mediums. I don't think those mediums will make it to the end, but he's certainly using the grip to full effect, Striff.
Astrade, a big lockup into turn 1. He's still got his teammate Avalu on those starting mediums behind him. And I don't know what to say about Valu right now. It just would appear he's locked up in this train on some older rubber, not able to do too much. Microlander is still very tight to the rear of Shenjie as well, and I think we may see a move out of Microlander soon here for 2nd position.
When did Microlander come in all of this? He qualified down in 11. He's already up into 3rd, battling with Shenjie. He's done very well for himself in that Red Bull. Very, very nice to see. But his teammate, Swifty, he's just chilling there in 6th place. He's running his own race. He's now lost DRS to Sindako and BTFU ahead. So that's going to open him up to an attack from Ace Ritchie behind him. Or Santa Ritchie, as he is known at the moment, for the holiday season.
Tis the season, Mick. Tis the season. Right now, Rackety thinking just the same. He's looking at... Oh, that was really interesting. I don't know if you caught it, Mikau. Sindako now BTFU, wheel to wheel. Sindako through on the inside, getting, of course, BT, Rackety, Valu. Oh, I don't know what to say about Rackety on that one, Mikau. He took quite the liberty with the pit median, we'll say.
Yeah, Becky is well behind them, getting past Freeware. Or has he?
Freeware
going for the round.
There goes the AlphaTauri. Big spin, a touch of contact. Oh, and there he goes. And just like that, he has to fight and fight and fight, and those tires are going to be screaming.
Yeah, he was just a bit too late on the brakes. He tried to have a go back at him after Becky passed him into turn 1 and through the center S. But it just a bit too late on the brakes, and the contact could not have been avoided there. Becky B left as much space as he probably could have in that at the exit of turn 4, and yeah, just very, very unfortunate from Freeware. But he does have the pace. He has shown it all week throughout practice, and he had a solid outing in the Oceanic race earlier today. But his teammate, Chenjie, is in the pit lane for some new medium compact tires to the end of this race, Striffium. But he is going to fall all the way back down into 16th, or 17th, I should say, as Freeware continues on those realistically flat-spotted tires.
That's a lot of traffic presenting variables right now. Swifty's just been mugged by Astrade up the inside out of turn 4 right now. He was fighting with Ritchie, and that cost him dearly, and we had a beautiful view from the helicopter. Thank you very much, helicopter camera guy. And right now, We're back with Hammer Helicopter Camera Guy. Astrodite still sticking with Richie here.
Yeah, that move is super important for Astrodite. He really needs to use these fresher softs to the fullest effect. He really needs to get past Richie now, in order to keep pushing and try and get at least some kind of gap. And I think he'll be trying to do that on this main straight. He's using a bit of overtake, but you can just see on the wing setup, and maybe it was just the exit as well, that Richie is just gone on the straight as Zay and Microlander respond to Chen Jay's undercut. Both of them heading into the pits.
Rackety looking at Swifty. Lock up from Swifty. Rackety, I think, wanted to have a lunge into turn 1. Swifty went in on that outside entry line. Now Rackety just breathing down Swifty's neck here. Rackety on a charge. Up the inside, he's got Value right there with him. Oh, how intense was that? Value actually pulled out of that one. Now it's on the inside for the McLaren. Swifty holding well, but Value, front row seats. Is he going to make a move on this Red Bull around the outside? The Haas. Very intense racing coming through Sector 2 now, and Rackety's through into 4th, but is this going to be a move for Value? Just the same right behind them, not too far back. It's Brainstew ahead of Becky. Back to Value in the Haas.
Yeah, he's just locked in combat with this Red Bull at the moment. He can't find a way past. Rackety has made his way through onto those fresher softs, and surely Swifty's softs are going to be dying now. Surely we see this Red Bull pit, but not before giving Valor a nice, helpful dose of DRS.
Oh, I think it might be in vain.
The Red Bull comes in for this.
King, now wheel to wheel with Value. Around the outside of turn 1, does the Williams get this done? It's very tight. He does. He's through ahead. Does Value have enough in the tank to get a move through into 5th, coming into turn 4? DRS for both of these drivers. He's utilizing all of that battery. Not just all of it, but he's got 5% left, and there's not going to be a move just yet, Mick. That battle and that traffic has really cost him on the energy side of things.
Meanwhile, for the leaders of this race, so yeah, as I was about to say, the leaders of the first stint are now fighting in this race for 13th. And Zay is really battling with Chen Jay at the moment. Chen Jay making a nice move at the start of Sector 2 on lap 19 of this one. Making his way through turns 9 and 10 at the moment. But yeah, these guys on the fresher mediums are going to have their work cut out for them, because all these guys on the hards are going to be trying to make it to the end of this race, and they are going to be, we'll say, struggling towards the end of the race pace-wise. So Chen Jay and Zay, as well as Microlander, just a couple seconds behind them, are going to really need to pull their finger out and just really put the pedal to the metal. It's hammer time for all these three right at the moment, Striff.
Freeware sending it down the inside of Jean into turn 1. This is a serious battle for that final points position right now. Nigel next on the radar for Freeware, and he's coming in hot, Mick. DRS for him, 13 lap old mediums. He's had his struggles, and he's coming fast. He really wants to get himself further up in this pecking order come the finale of this 21st campaign of Season 3 action.
Yeah, but he doesn't really seem to have the resources to really mount an attack just yet. He's sitting at about 30% battery. Is that German in the AlphaTauri, currently in 10th position. And yeah, Nigel is also getting the DRS from Becky B in that Mercedes in front of the Alfa Romeo. So it's going to be quite hard for Freeway to mount an attack, but he kind of needs to, because he's still got to make another pit stop. There's no way those mediums are making it to the end of the race from here. But he's showing really strong pace at the moment, and he could maybe be trying to eye up a move. Rackety and Valu coming into the pits now, as well as Brainstew, so they're coming in for their last stop of the race. Zay setting the fastest lap to boot, as well as he's now caught up to the back of Jean in this little battle. So Becky B will be leading this train of cars along.
Oh, Jean's a sitting duck here. Look at the speed coming out of Zay out of turn 3. Very fresh mediums
running a lot of grip. Yeah, a lot of grip in those fresh mediums around turn 3. It's those high-speed lateral corners where you can just feel the car just turning on its own, and you don't need to force it or play with your throttle input or brake input at all. The car just wants to turn, and it's a very, very nice feeling being on those fresh medium compound tires. And he's going to need to use the script and maybe try and pull a bit of a gap to Chenje, because Chenje's now stuck behind Jean, at least for another couple of corners. So Zay trying to use this to just catch up a bit, get a bit close to the freeway, and hopefully mount an attack and put some breathing space between him and his nearest competitor.
Nigel giving Freeware a serious slingshot into turn 1, I think, here. Look at this speed coming out of Freeware. Nigel not too close to the car ahead. That's Becky. Oh, what? Freeware didn't get nearly as much speed as I think he should have coming out of that turn. Maybe not the best exit. Maybe we're at that cliff on these mediums, just not getting the traction he needs. Valu has just dispatched Swifty into 16th position. Brownie and Vito now having an exchange. Brownie now taking defensive position for the Ferraris, I think. And it's going to be Rackety looking to get by him. That's going to be a very interesting battle to see. Let's take a look as Brownie in 14th position. Rackety 15th position. Very fresh mediums.
And then there's Valu behind them on fresh softs as well. So he's going to need to clear these 3 cars very, very quickly. You can see he's coming in at so much higher speed. Rackety goes for a late lunge on Brownie. Brownie sees him coming, leaves the room to avoid an accident there, but that was quite the lunge. Rackety around the outside of 9 becomes the inside for turn 10 now. And that is a move done for the McLaren. Is it not? Brownie will have the inside for turn 11. There's a tap. There's a tap, and Valu gets forced off the track there. Bye-bye. Made a breaking board.
Well, Valu looking for a very opportunistic move around the outside of Brownie there. And now it's cost him a little bit to Alex Bitto. Brownie now placing that car. Oh, a lunge out of Valu up the inside of Brownie. Does he get this move done? What a lunge coming out of the Haas McCown. He's made it through into 15th position, and that's not all, because he is going to be looking at Rackety very, very soon. Wow.
Talk about last of the late breakers. Oh my goodness, that would put Daniel Ricciardo in a spin in that one. Very, very nice move there from the Haas driver. The flying fin, as it were. But meanwhile, in this battle for 5th, Becky B is doing an absolutely stellar job holding these guys up on those old hards, and I believe he's told me that he's also forgotten to load his setup for this race, so even more credit to him
for
doing this with a default setup.
Named Shenjay. Really barking up his gearbox, and Freeware's just come in that really unleashes Shenjay on him. Nigel, not too far in front, will still provide Zay with that DRS, and that's going to be crucial in his fight with Shenjay.
Yeah, but both these guys will need to pass Nigel and Becky, and considering how hard it is for Nigel to really pass Becky B at the moment, I don't know how hard it's going to be for these 2 guys behind them. Or 3, I should say, because Microland is still there. He's just been just chilling there nice and quiet in 9th place at the moment. It looks like the 2 Williams are also going to have a bit of a scrap on their hands soon as well. Asteroid going very deep into turn 10. Striffing, this could open the door for S-King, but it's not quite enough. But that has certainly compromised Astrodite's run through this next sequence. And Astrodite on those old softs as well in this battle for 3rd place at the moment. Surely he pits very, very soon.
I think he comes in right here. Yep, there he goes. Boom. Into the pit lane. The Haas. Astrodite getting off to 16 lap old softs. Here goes Zay around the outside of Nigel. It's a drag race. Becky B going to provide a little bit of an issue for Nigel here. It's going to be nearly 3 wide coming down into turn 1. Who's going to be the benefactor of this exchange? Becky B in 4th. Zay in 5th. Nigel now between Shenjay and Zay. Shenjay going to make short work of the Alfa Romeo here. Zay looking at Becky B now. Oh, there he goes around the outside of turn 4. Mick, does he hold this on Becky? Becky looking to defend it very well. There he goes, the McLaren into 4th position. Shenjay now needs to dispatch the Mercedes very quickly, and that is not easy to do through Sector 2, but Shenjay's going to try anyway. He's got so much more traction around the outside of Becky. 7 lap old mediums for Shenjay versus Becky's 16 nearing 17 lap old hards.
Oh, Becky is doing a superb job defending, but is it going to be enough? I don't know. Shenjay's going to have that inside for turn 11, inside for turn 12. Oh, he might actually pass him. and he's ahead. But there goes the detection point. So I think, yeah, Becky B's going to have DRS to come back at him.
Oh, this is not good for Shenjay. This is exactly what he doesn't need. He's out of the DRS of the car ahead in Zay. He puts that car in a very, very unique position to try and defend off of Becky. And here comes Microlander. He saw the blood in the water. He tasted it. It's the bull seeing red, Mikau. Here we go. Becky B's in trouble. Here comes Microlander around the outside of turn 4. Does he get this? Does he get this? Oh, a little bit off circuit, going wide there. Becky B just squeezing him off a bit. Nigel is in on all of this as well. He's on 17 lap old hards.
He's in the same boat as Becky B at the moment in terms of tire life and wear. His teammate Jean's also crashing the party. Just saying, hey, I'm still here. I'm also on these hards. I want to have a piece of this. Microlander, though, he's losing so much time to these two in front of him. He just cannot pass this Mercedes. He had to wait an entire another sector to really get another opportunity. But surely here, Becky B just fallen outside the DRS range of Shenjay. Surely Microlander gets it done here. As Sindako now pits, so it's a Williams 1-2 at the moment, Striffium. But on fresh soft, Sindako is going to have a lot of pace at the end of this race. We have 10 laps remaining in this race. Oh,
big lockup from Microlander. Nearly cost him the fantastic run he had on Becky into turn 1. Now Jean. Nigel ahead of Sindako, of course, as a result of that pit stop. Sindako, he lands himself out in 9th position on these softs. Becky B still within half a second of Microlander. He really, really doesn't want to lose Microlander right now because Nigel and John, they're on the same tires and they're still within a second as well. And if he loses DRS on Microlander, that could put him in a bind. Just taking a 3-second time penalty.
That 3 seconds is certainly going to put him in a bind. So Nigel, if he keeps it clean, will be able to jump the Mercedes. But I wouldn't be as concerned as you're probably making out to be, Striffium. No, Nigel was not able to pass when he was the one following Becky B. And now that
Sindako on the inside of Jean. Sorry to interrupt you there, Mikau. Ooh, Sindako cleared through into 8th position, and it would appear that King and Richie have had a changing of the guard over there at Williams in that 1-2 position. King now leading things.
What a result for Williams at the moment if they're able to hold on to this. But as I say that, Zay and Shenjay and Microlander have shown that all three of them have pace. And there's still 9 laps left in this campaign. 4.5 seconds is the gap between Zay and Ace Richie.
Rackety, Valu, wheel-to-wheel coming out of turn 3 right now. Rackety and Valu. This is tight. This is very tight. Rackety a little bit ahead of Valu right now. Here comes Biddo. No, that's Brownie. Excuse me. Biddo doing his own work up ahead. Brownie wanting to catch up with him. Brownie's on these hards still. Biddo, he overtook Astrode, if I'm not mistaken, for 11th position. Unless Astrode caught up with him, I'm not entirely sure. But
around the outside at turn 6.
Definitely. Definitely. Sindako right now on the inside of yet again another Alfa Romeo through the same turn. He's into 7th position and flying on those softs, and Becky B is his next target. But Becky B, he thought about pitting, it would appear. Or at the very least, he was trying to break the slip, and now Nigel, does he have another look at Sindako? No, and Sindako not just able to make a move on Becky yet.
Yeah, meanwhile, at the front of the grid, the gap's now dropped from 4.5 to 3.8 in the space of a lap. So Zay could be in with a second second place here. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull the 3 seconds he needs on Richie. And asking having that 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. No, actually, no, I think it was for a collision with Becky B, actually. So that might get removed post-race. So Zay has it all to do. He has the grip, he has the pace. Let's see if he's able to close up in the next few laps.
Well, the McLaren boys will be thrilled if he can, considering the constructors, and where that will take some points out of the equation for some other teams and make things a little bit spicier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but the two Ferrari-powered teams, the Haas and the Works Ferrari, still locked in combat for this first of the bragging rights, if you want to call it that. This is the 11th place. But they are certainly going at it. Brainster and Freeway also catching them as well. Wavy's had another issue at turn 11 as well. Very unfortunate for him in the racing point. But yeah, all these guys from 11th all the way down into 16th are just line astern heading through the center S.
Brownie, 20 lap old hards. What a difficult race he has had. 13th position, Bitto just ahead of him, fending off Astrodite. Wavy has had a retirement, and that's going to be in the pit lane. The Racing Point squad calling him in.
Yeah, he was a bit too far back, and it looks like he's just decided to throw in the towel early. But all these drivers here in this fight for a P11, there's nothing imminent between these guys. I mean, Value's still on these fresh softs, Brain's still on these fresher softs, and Freeway even on even fresher softs behind Brownie on these 20-lap-old hards. The DRS and the slipstream plus a bit of overtake here and there is certainly keeping him in this fight. But Value, he's got the run on Brownie. Is he going to make the move? He's gaining, but I don't know if he's gaining enough, Striff. It doesn't look like it. He goes for another dive on Brownie. But this one isn't going to quite work like last time, but maybe the switchback will.
Ooh, Brownie. Not nearly as much power on the exit coming through turn 3, and Value, a little bit of a tap into the back of him. This is going to expose him. Brainstew on the inside into turn 4. He's actually on the inside and leading ahead of the Haas now, Mikal. This is not what Value wants at all, and Brainstew is going to be happy to put himself between the Haas and the Ferrari ahead because he wants that position first.
Freeway.
Oh, a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, Freeway trying to go around the outside of turn 7. You don't see that one very often, and gets a track limit warning for his troubles. It'll give him a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, the grid sort of split up into these little pockets. So you still have this fight between Becky B and the two Alfa Romeos for P7. Becky B doing an extraordinary job to keep those two behind. Both Nigel and John can be very, very quick as well. But these two Williams, they keep DRS training each other along. They're actually going side by side into this corner. This is probably the worst thing that they could be doing, because with every single lap that they fight, this McLaren keeps getting closer and closer, and Astrodite has appeared to have gone off at turn 2, as Valo has made his way into the pits as well. So the Haas boys down in 17th and 18th after it was looking like a nice battle between them and the two Ferraris.
Really wild to see Valo in 18th after such a streak recently. I have to say, it is something else to see. Brownie right now, he's wheel to wheel. There goes Brainstew defending off against the German. Oh, this is a tight battle, and Brainstew's on these 10-lap-old softs. Brownie putting that car. Oh, Freeware just skating past. Just skating past Sindako. Yeah, Sadako, talking about skating past, Sadako's clean through on Microland. He's now up into 5th on those fresh softs, but he's running out of laps. So now on lap 33 of 36 in this campaign, Zay is actually caught up to the two Williams guys. He does have that penalty, don't you forget, but it still should be a really nice scrap, and to see if the Williams guys can take home this 1-2. Brainstew also being able a 3-second time penalty, and Zay, he's so much later on the brakes than S-King. S-King going to be playing rear gunner for Richie in the lead of this race, but with only 3 laps remaining, and those hards are really going to be starting to feel it now. All these guys on the hards from that safety car are really going to start to be struggling, and hopefully they don't puncture. Well, Zay, I thought he was going to go up the inside there. It looked like he had so much speed that he was carrying. I thought that he was going to try and, sneak a little, hey, how you going up the inside? And now we have him looking really close to the rear of that Williams. He's coming for it. He's coming for it, coming deep around the outside. Does he get this move done? He's going to have the inside through the next turn. He is into 2nd position. This is going to give King a good run of DRS back into turn 4. Zay, DRS as well. Are we going to see a lunge out of King here? No. Zay into 2nd position, Mick, and that's crucial. But something else that is crucial right now is that Richie, he is leading this race. He's on some very worn, well, hard compound tires. Nigel ahead of Becky now. There's a tire differential there, and all of these strategy battles are starting to come through. We're on the 34th lap. The 34th lap of this race, ladies and gentlemen. Richie leading things in the Williams. King at present, 5 seconds of penalties will not be taking that second spot, but Zay 3 seconds himself. It's going to be a tight battle on strategy and penalties. We'll see what the tire wear is going to be like for Richie in comparison to these mediums. Look at the run coming out of Zay here, Mick.
Oh my goodness. The overspeed strip him. It's
wave
not
by.
even going to be a contact.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
by.
like waving like see ya.
Yeah.
But he has 2 laps now to build a 3-second gap. That's going to be a tough ask. But these,
contact.
these hard.
Shenjay Sindako, a little bit of hard racing coming out of turn 2, now through 3. DRS for both. No, Shenjay actually has it over Sindako. He's clear 3 and 4th still. Just keeping Sindako at bay. Shenjay on very old mediums compared to what Sindako's running.
And Valo heading into the pits yet again to retire the car. Very unfortunate that he was unable to finish this race. As Rosalie's are going to be starting the final lap very, very soon. Zay has managed to pull out a second, but not quite enough to break that DRS zone. Maybe? Oh, he just has. He has just broken that DRS. That is crucial.
He needs to mount a 3-second gap.
Yeah, he needs to do another 2 seconds in 1 lap. We are now on the final lap of this race. Lap 36 of 36. Zay, the pole sitter.
There goes Sindako up the inside of Shenjay. There, Mick. Sindako with a big lunge on Shenjay now. He's getting it done on the softs. He's into 4th. No penalties between these two. Shenjay. DRS now on the rear wing once again. Will he have a look at the inside? No. We're on the final lap of this campaign now, as they cross the line just ahead. And this is a battle to the end between these two, and we'll see what Shenjay is able to do. If he's able to get himself into 4th. Shenjay now the reigning Tier 1 champion. Not having the best follow-up drive after claiming that title, we'll say. And it was, I have to say, his Mexican drive, Mick, not the easiest drive either.
No, but he will have DRS in this one. But Zay, he hasn't pulled the gap he needs. Both him and Ace Richie now just burning everything they have left. So it will be this McLaren across the line first, but it will be Santa Richie taking the race win here in Brazil with a nice little drift there across the line. S-King will come across in actually in 6th. As Sindako will take that final place on the podium. Shenjay will come across in 4th. Microlander in 5th. S-King down into 6th. Nigel taking home... Nigel taking home 7th as Becky B falls all the way down. Oh my goodness.
Santa Claus has come and conquered. He has given all the gifts to the Williams team today, that's for sure. Mikau, the race win here around Brazil. Santa Richie has come to town.
That he has. A very, very nice drive from all of these drivers. We saw some great battles. Alex Bitto there picking up the in-game driver of the day after a solid recovery drive. Actually getting some points, I believe, as well with Becky B's penalties.
That was a... You know, I have to say, for me, that was a confusing race. Confusing. So many different strategies at play in the end there. Penalties coming into throw a monkey wrench, but let's take a look at this classification. It was Richie from 6th to 1st in the Williams. What a stellar drive from him. A 109.038, his quickest time on the grid, but he had some very long stints to carry him through. Zay, he drops back a position in his debut. Very nice drive from him regardless, finishing 2nd here. Sindako in 3rd from 5th. Shenjay drops back a couple slots here. Microlander lands 5th from 11th. King, he drops back a couple slots. He started this race in 4th. He drops to 6th. Nigel makes up a couple positions. 9th to 7th for him. 20th to 8th for Alex Bitto. It's 17th to 9th for Freeware. BTFU loses out a few positions, but still finishes in the points for Renault. John, Brownie, Becky B, Rackety, Swifty J, as well as Brainstew, Astrodite, Valu, Wavy, and Van Putin, all joining us in this one as well. It was the top 10 taking the points home, and just thrilling race start to finish. We thought we were going to see wet compound tires at the beginning of this one. We saw the dries throughout this one. We even had the rain, but it wasn't enough to warrant those tires. What a dynamic running session, Mick.
Yeah, though that opening stint certainly gave all the drivers, both new and old, a real test of their experience in car control. Those tricky conditions at the start when all the cars are so closely bunched up. Well done to all these drivers who are able to keep it clean during that tricky phase of the race. But yeah, I do believe this is Richie's first win, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong on that one, but a stellar drive from him.
Really sure about that.
A stellar drive from the Dutchman, taking the race win there. Zay on debut definitely showed that he is not messing around. Has some serious pace, filling in for the championship runner-up now. Now that Alex Bitter has finished 8th, that second place has been sealed for the Albanians, so he'll be happy with that. But yeah, a very, very dynamic race, and certainly one to remember. Lots of close fought battles and quite a bit of drama as well, if I do say so myself.
Oh yeah, definitely a little bit of drama. Just there were a few spins there, a little bit of contact. Not entirely sure what happened in all of it. We'll have to review what happened in all that, but it was just, I had a lot of fun watching that race. I really did. That was a tight battle, really tight exchanging. But I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you did and you're new, hit that follow button. We've got more action coming tomorrow. Club Division, of course, Club Division 8 p.m. GMT. We have the Endurance Series Abu Dhabi this weekend. That's 11 p.m. GMT this coming Saturday for those of you in the UK. That's well, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. And we're just finding someone to raid for you all right now to carry on, share, and spread the love F1 community. Looking for somebody doing some multiplayer or something of the kind. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, as always.
Yeah, your support really is really appreciated by everyone here at MRL. You know, both myself, Stryfium, Unicorn, and the rest of the marshals and the moderators of this team. We really appreciate your support. Always coming in and watching these races, and hopefully they're all as exciting as this one. This one was certainly no shortage of action this evening. And yeah, don't go too far before we raid. Just yeah, remember to tune in tomorrow for the club race. Stryfium calls it the sandbox. We have fast drivers from all over the place, all over the shop. So be sure to tune into that one. That should be a thrilling race in its own right. Regardless if weather plays a part. She had a lot of rain this week. I believe EU was raining as well, and in Tier 1 as well, and all the practice races as well had quite a, well, at least a dynamic practice race that had a lot of rain. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Yep, club tomorrow, and then Abu Dhabi for what could be the final round of the endurance this season. Still yet to be determined, but what could be the final round of the endurance for this season on Saturday around Yas Marina. So be sure to tune in to that one. That's sure to be a long and hopefully action-packed race.